Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. It's Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific. I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the world. So while you're dreaming of sunshine and warm beaches, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Because we do like to talk about geocaches, specifically this week, events. So live audience, as always, you're so good at it. Please join in. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you think about events. There'll be a hashtag later, but you can start sharing anyway. But of course, before we can do that, it's time to bring in our waterlogged bush baby. Some say he tears the tags off mattresses. Others say he's like glitter. He's bright, fun, and impossible to get rid of. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hello, my friends.
How do you do,
That was
sir?
an appropriate introduction for events.
It's good.
They're impossible to get rid of.
Yeah.
Not like we're trying, though.
One of the last at the events, usually. All right. Hey, good to be here. It is
Is that
Thursday night.
last, like, arriving? You show up as they're done, or?
No, usually, but we're certainly usually not the first to arrive. So
Okay.
Usually casually late and then hang around, I don't know, talking. We usually get busy talking to people. Anyways, so yeah, good to be here. Good to be here talking with you guys tonight. And we are going to talk about events, which will be fun. But before we get into that, we've got some news and we've got a bunch of updates we want to share about everything that's been going on in the Pacific Northwest and particularly in soggy Southwest BC here. I'm not sure if you guys have any updates you can bring from Northwest Washington State as well, but we'll get into that when we get into our news section. But before we do any of that, I want to throw out a quick reminder that at this point in the show, it is the point where we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep the podcast coming each and every week. And a thanks to Landsharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Hey, did you guys know Landsharks is once again, because they've done it once before, but now they're doing it a second time. So it's the second, I'd say annual, but we had to miss a year.
So it's a rerun.
It's the rerun, sure.
Okay.
But it's better than the Star Wars holiday special. It is. That's not hard to do.
That's because that's hard to do. Yeah, I decided not to say it, but you did, so I didn't have to.
It's all good, man.
Is there a cooking show involved?
No, not on
Here's one I've prepared earlier.
Oh man, for anybody who has seen the Star Wars holiday special, I'm sorry. And anyone who hasn't seen it, you kind of really do have to watch it at least once so that you can appreciate
It's like one
where
of
the
those,
bar has been set. Yeah.
can't look away from the train wreck, you know?
I'm so excited for it too.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, hey, as I was saying, Landsharks is hosting a holiday special event. It is the Caching in the Northwest live podcast and holiday celebration.
What?
The new Shark Store. That's right.
We should try to go to that.
That would be so cool.
I am formally inviting you to come to my country.
Wow.
You haven't been here for a while. We moved the furniture around a bit.
Okay.
So, turn the lights on when you come into Canada so you don't trip over anything. We usually keep the lights off.
Important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.
You're welcome. Anyways, it's GC8 Hotel Juliet Foxtrot 6. So, I'm going to see if I can talk Chris and Jim into coming there. I've decided I'll show up. So if all three
You've decided, have you? And you've decided we'll show up as well across the border involving medical experimentation upon our body.
Yes.
I don't know about
Okay.
that, but what could go wrong?
You guys are willing to test out time travel for my birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That
With
was
a swab up the nose.
that was in the past, or was it?
or was it? Yeah, there you go. Anyways, Helen from Landsharks guarantees that they will be dried up and back in action at least a few hours before the event, if not a few weeks. For those who don't know what that's in reference to, they did have a bit of a flood in the store.
Oh
They
no.
got things under control. So you know what? Check out everything at landsharks.ca, landsharks with a Z.ca. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they're getting ready for Black Friday sales and things like that as well.
Ooh.
Keep that
What do
all in
you
mind.
know about Black Friday up yonder?
Yeah, it's kind of taken over, but let's talk about that in the after show.
Okay.
All right. Hey,
If at
so
all.
check if at all. There you go. Check that all out. And of course, hey, let's not forget about our other Denali level sponsor. That's Gold Country Geotourism. Gold Country, well, they were open, but you can't get there now.
They're still open. You just can't get there.
You can get there from Alberta. You just can't get there from the rest of BC. Anyways, kidding aside, we did hear from Marcy at Gold Country. I was talking with her earlier this week, and we'll share some news from them when we get to the news section. The good news is that Marcy and her family are safe, and even though there has been some significant issues in towns like Merritt, a Gold Country community, has been flooded and is still in a state of emergency and is closed. There's a few other communities that aren't flooded out but are having highway access issues, etc. So keep our good friends in Gold Country in your prayers and in mind. And you know what? Make your plans for the spring, or maybe even the winter once the highways are opened up again, to go and visit Gold Country communities and do some safe caching. All right. And if you want to learn more, well, it's exploregoldcountry.ca. All right. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, well, my friends, what you should really do is go over and click that patreon.com link on the cachingnw.com website.
Thank you so much. Now it's time for the glow. I know you guys know what the glow is because we've done this before. But for those that are listening for the first time, first of all, welcome. Thank you for listening to Caching in the Northwest. And we're going to talk about the glow, or the geocaching log of the week. What we want to know is if you read any good logs, whether you read it, whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it, because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call in to 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
And this week's glow is from a log by the Yellow Warbler, or Yellow Dot Warbler. I don't know if that's a top-level domain or not. Probably not. Yellow Warbler found Kearney Challenge Trail 2.0. That's the Purple Hawks edition. It's GC912 Golf Echo. That's like 4.
That's the Golf Echo.
That's the Golf Echo. The log says, OMG, can't believe we actually got this darned thing. So we were looking around at Ground Zero, wondering where the cache could be, when a gentleman riding his bike stopped and asked what we were doing. We explained geocaching, and he'd heard of it, though never done it, and suggested it was maybe in the squirrel's nest up in the nearby tree. We laughed, and he continued on his way. Well, maybe if it had been in the tree, it would have been easier. After finally locating the cache, Boof, I think, made the attempt first, but she could not quite reach the container. Just a few inches too short. So I made my way up next. I could touch the container, but as it is firmly attached to its hiding spot, I had to somehow twist it open from where I was, and my fingers could not quite reach high enough for that. I tried from multiple angles, stretching as far as I would dare. Occasionally my fingertips would grasp a little more of it, but not enough. Booth suggested we give up. Give up? When I could touch the cache? No way! I suggested she maybe look for a tot for me to help me get the few inches higher that I needed. While she was off doing that, I remained in my position trying to get at the cache still. I then had an interesting idea. What if I did this and moved it over slightly to the side and then went to stand over there? Ha! That got me the few centimeters that I needed, and with much focused concentration and fine motor skills, I managed to grasp the bison enough to twist it open. Woohoo! I shouted down to Boof, but the tot was no longer needed. But now, after signing it, how to put it back? While opening the bison had involved grasping, twisting, and pulling downwards with gravity. To reattach it, I needed to push upward against gravity and somehow managed to keep the lid in place while doing so. Well, it turns out that the few centimeters that it allowed me to untwist it were not enough to allow me to get it back on. Now what? Short person dilemmas. Boof had a sudden idea of what would work and was climbing up beside me in no time. This is literally the closest we have been to each other in the past 8 months. She held the cap in place with a stick and managed to hold it in such a way that it allowed me to press up as I twisted, and after several tries, managed to get the threads of the bison into the cap enough to twist it shut. Teamwork! Meanwhile, tons of people were walking, riding by, and one little kid even wondered aloud to himself what we were doing, but it seems no one else questioned the insanity of us two adults balanced precariously engaging in shenanigans. Thanks so much for this fun challenge. It's definitely getting a favorite point. Cache was slid back into its original hiding spot after all was said and done, so it wouldn't be out in the open.
Wow. That is quite the adventure. I was
Very
curious where
descriptive.
this is, so I looked it up while you were sharing the story. It's just outside of a community called Jerseyville, so it's in Ontario near the Highway 403 near Brantford.
Isn't everything in Ontario near 403?
Sure, or the 401.
Or 401, that's what I'm thinking is 401. 401, 403. The 404 I've never found.
It's because it's missing.
Yeah.
The 409 sure is fine.
Oh, yeah.
There
She's
you
real
go.
fine, my 409.
Awesome. So that is great. Thank you very much.
Wet Coasters is just west of Hamilton.
There you go.
Alexander Hamilton. I think it's different.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, thank you, Yellow Warbler. And,
That was
and Boof
fun.
for the adventure.
I feel like I was there.
Indeed. It's like we were.
Ah.
For sure.
Folks, if you want to join tonight's conversation, and I know you do, use the hashtag event, because we made it easy for you, to add to tonight's chat. And of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS to bring things up for the after show that maybe you want to talk about, but don't quite fit into the event hashtag, right? We'll talk about it. We like you. You're our friends.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've got some news here, and we're gonna go through a little bit of geocaching news, and then we're gonna talk about some updates. I've got a whole bunch of updates regarding what's going on here in British Columbia and how we can help. So I'll get to that. But Chris, do you want to maybe start with your geocaching news you've got?
Yes, we got a little. This came from Geocaching HQ, so you know it's real. We get to close the book on 2021. I think we can do that early. I mean,
It's
not
not
as early as we wanted to do 2020, but a little bit earlier, than, say 2019.
It's in the running for sure.
Yeah. And we can start new in 2022 with actual souvenirs. Yes. 2021 is coming to close, and no one could have foreshadowed what transpired this past year. No.
I don't know. I think after 2020, we had a good sense of where 2021 was going.
Boy. Every good story has a few obstacles, though, and we've managed to emerge on the other side more hopeful than ever before. Much of our adventuring lately may be from the safety and comfort of our homes, but geocaching has continued to bring us outside and together with the geocaching community. As we close the book on 2021 and turn to 2022, We reflect on the noteworthy memories made in the past year while staying hopeful and all that can be accomplished in this next chapter. This year, we invite you to turn the page, introducing 2 new geocaching souvenirs. It's time to mark 2021 as done, and to imagine once upon a time in 2022 by bookmarking these dates and going out finding a geocache. How can you do that? Well, you can earn the end of 2021 by finding any geocache from December 24th through December 31st. That pretty much covers the December holidays.
So you could end it early if you wanted to.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
And I don't know if we want to put it that way.
I'm also going to suggest that if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, first of all, sorry. And secondly, that end of 2021 souvenir is named after the Vancouver Canucks mascot. So that's kind of cool.
Finn?
Yep.
Or the French for end?
Yes. Also appropriate.
Okay.
Or it's like me. I don't quite make the find.
Oh,
Just
yes.
come up short.
That's
3/4 of the way
fine.
there, and yeah, done. Okay.
Now, so December 24th through 31st, apparently it's somebody's birthday souvenir. Keats 94.
Mm-hmm.
He's a New Year's baby.
There you go.
New Year's Eve. Yep.
And you can earn the Once Upon a Time souvenir by finding another geocache, not the same one apparently, from January 1st to January 8th.
Wednesday 8th. So you have some latitude with when you find that one.
There
too.
You got a
That's
week
good.
on either side.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, they've been really generous with souvenirs in the last couple of years. Haven't they?
Mhm. With the time frames, you mean?
Yeah.
Or just number of souvenirs?
Well, number of souvenirs as well, but also the time frames they allow you to get them. Like CETOs have been multiple months, and I think the only thing where people are finding a little bit more of a challenge these days is the mountain
Cache Day?
the mountain climbing one,
Mm,
Earth Cache
mhm.
weekend. Earth
Earth
Cache
Cache
weekend
week.
is awesome.
Oh, it's just a weekend. I mean, for a souvenir, we get a week. You've got to go and start pushing HQ again to expand the time frame.
It
I
took
want
a lot of
Earth
work.
Cache week.
It took a lot of work just to get the extra day for Earth
Yeah, it
Cache
did.
Day. All
You're not
right.
pushing your luck.
Yeah, I'm going to focus my energy elsewhere.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, we do have some news about everything that's been going on. Hey, it's Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hey.
We love souvenirs as well. Absolutely. The first bit of news I'm going to share, it was actually a social media post from Trading Post Brewing, one of my favorite places to stop in at. And they had shared that they're, like many, their hearts and thoughts are with everyone affected by the Sumas Prairie floods. And then they had shared a number of other organizations and places where you could, if you were displaced in the Abbotsford area, where you could get some help. Spinco Abbotsford, which is a spin class place, was making their showers and water available for evacuees. Fieldhouse Brewing has set up a donation drive with @This Is My Locality. I believe that's still underway, so that's something to check out. Old Yale Brewing, at least during the immediate evacuation period, was offering evacuees a free burger until they ran out. One of the major evacuation centers is the Abbotsford Tradex.
Ooh,
And
that's a venue I've heard of.
it's a venue you've heard of for sure. They've had Wi-Fi, phone chargers, a rest area, food, water, coffee, and more for evacuees. And many people have been. What's that?
I'm sorry. I don't know if the list of amenities there are in order of priority,
I think they are.
but I noticed that Wi-Fi phone chargers came above food and water.
Yes. I
Okay.
think that is the new Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
For many people, that is it. Yeah, that's true. I would put coffee much higher on the list personally,
Yeah,
but
there you go. Another place, the local harvest market in Chilliwack has been providing produce for families who need some extra groceries as well. So a lot of different companies and facilities in Abbotsford have really been stepping up to help out in the community. Obviously, the Abbotsford and Chilliwack police departments and fire departments, all the SAR teams, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But the SAR teams have all been activated and have been coming together and helping. I don't know if you guys have heard, the military has now been called in. We've got the military engineers coming in to help with those problems as well. I reached out to our partners for GeoWoodstock, that's Tourism Abbotsford, asked them, hey, what is the official message that we can send out on the podcast for people who want to help? And here's what they came back with. They said, the most frequently asked question the past couple of days has been, how can we help? And we completely understand. Our community is incredibly giving. We want to help share a few ways that you can show your support in the emergency response efforts. They said, for the most part, people have been directed to the City of Abbotsford's main emergency response number, as they are in charge of the emergency response efforts. That's for people who want to physically come in and help if they can. But with attention turning more towards recovery and the anticipated needs in the coming weeks of those who've been impacted, there are several fundraisers and organizations with programs to assist those who are in need. And these are ones that are vetted by the City of Abbotsford and as legitimate places that you can give your support through. Archway Community Services Food Bank, the Salvation Army in Abbotsford, and this next one I'm going to completely butcher it, so I apologize in advance. But the Duk Nivaran Sahib Gurdwara.
That was perfect.
Gurdwara. I think, yeah, that's what I would. That's about how I would have mangled it.
Yeah,
you did well. Apologies, we tried. No, no harm. No, I don't know. No ill will intended. We just
exactly. The Abbotsford Disaster Relief Fund, the Canadian Red Cross, and the BC SPCA, I should say. And for those who are wishing to donate funds or supplies to evacuees, there's actually an email address, donations@gov.bc.ca, that you can contact, and they will. Sorry?
I put that in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
The email address, in case anybody wants to get in contact. And
another thing is, if you want to get this information, there's a link that we'll put in the chat as well here. For everybody, it's tourismabbotsford.ca/emergency response resources. And if you go there, everything that I've just shared is all there on the website, and they're going to keep it up to date. So if there's changes, if there's new organizations, etc., you can go there. That's tourismabbotsford.ca/emergency response resources.
And like magic, there it is in the chat.
There it is in the chat. Awesome. All right. So that's enough from me for the moment. Jim, would you mind sharing the update we got from Marcy?
I would love to. Our friend Marcy in Gold Country. She's up there where communities like Merritt have been flooded, and many other communities are dealing with highway closures, as we all know. Marcy shares it's certainly a trying situation, as we are currently reaching out to the neighboring communities to see what help they may need. The biggest message at this point is the need for all of BC to work together to help one another, to share resources, and to stay clear of areas where work is being done or needs to be done. Emphasis was mine added, but I think it was well placed. She offers a big thank you to all of the first responders, volunteers, and groups working to provide for those who are still unable to go home. She said, we'll be doing a Let Your Light Shine campaign to encourage random acts of kindness and to promote shop local and support local. We are encouraging all to light up the night and make this upcoming holiday season a time to restore community spirit and the message of neighbors helping neighbors. Before all the flooding, Hope BC had started a Hope for the Holidays campaign to create a winter wonderland. We want to acknowledge this effort and the community spirit and hospitality they are showing to those who are currently stranded by letting our light shine on this side of the Fraser Canyon. We may be few in numbers, but we are resilient and we are mighty. Our thoughts are with those who have had to evacuate and to those who are waiting to come home, and our condolences to those who've lost a loved one during this tumultuous time. At this point, unessential travel is not advised. Again, we've had to disable a few more geocaches in key areas that have mudslides and closures. Once we've connected further with those in need, we will post updates. Thanks,
Fantastic.
Marcy.
Thank you very much, Marcy.
You sounded a little bit like me tonight, but the words were all from Marcy's heart.
I will.
right.
I have to confess that when I first read through the email that I got from Marcy that you shared, Jim, you did much better because I was choking up when I read it the first time. So you were able to cold read that perfectly.
Well, that's just because I'm heartless and cold.
No,
That's not
you're
true.
professional, my
I've
friend.
known you for a bit.
Okay, just heartless. I'm
Hey,
pretty warm.
Keats tosses in that in times of struggle, it's amazing how communities come together. You know,
Indeed.
there may be times during the year we don't like our neighbor, but typically if they need help, we're there for them.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Brylink says at least 100 military members are on the ground here in Abbotsford this evening, getting ready to build a new levee ahead of the next rainstorm. And, you know, that's a real issue is you've got all this water on the ground and it's not done yet. So there's more water coming in without places for the existing water to go. So our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who's affected. You know, reach out to some of these resources. Reach out to us if you are looking for these resources. We can help you get in contact with them.
Happy to. Yeah.
We're, you know, we want to help you.
Yeah, because you can't just drive the Chevy to the levee and find the levee dry. Right now, all the levees are wet.
Really,
right.
really wet.
Really
if
wet.
there's even a levee left.
Right.
So yeah, it's just unbelievable what's happened. You know, regardless of whether you want to, you know, discuss climate change or whatever, that all of that is academic. The issue at hand is helping the people who need help right now. And for those who maybe aren't, I don't know, anybody might not have heard about what's going on up here, but for those who maybe haven't, basically with the atmospheric river is what they're referring to.
Yes, they are.
The rainstorm that came in. Apparently atmospheric river is new scientific jargon for metric buttloads of rain that never stop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got
Pretty
you
much.
now. Yeah.
But anyways, with that, it just triggered off mudslides, rivers overflowing, all kinds of issues that we've had. So British Columbia, all of our major highways that head down towards the Greater Vancouver area, all of them were disabled at one point in time with rock slides and mudslides. It's just unprecedented. And then we had the Abbotsford area where they had some serious flooding. I won't go into too many details, but one of the reasons that SPCA is one of the organizations involved is because the area that flooded is all farmland and lots of cattle and horses and poultry. And yeah, it's sad what's happened. A lot of animals have been saved, but I'm going to assume a lot have not. So it's a sad situation. But yeah. Check out it's all over the news.
That's right. Land Monkey, you asked if anything was happening south of the 40.
I'm a little preoccupied with what's happening in my backyard.
So yeah, I mean, there, you know, the places up north of King County are experiencing some flooding. Nothing like what you're seeing in BC. You know, even down here in Tacoma, we're experiencing high water, right? It's receded here in the last couple of days, but we got a lot of rain, an unusual amount of rain for our area, and we get a lot of rain
and a lot of wind too at the same. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, I was parking about 3 blocks away from where I needed to go, just because I knew as soon as I opened the door, I was going to be, blown down the street. So
You may as well.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
So yeah, we've experienced some of that weather here, but nothing to what our northern neighbors are. So our thoughts and prayers are with you guys.
We appreciate it. All right.
So it's true that greater Vancouver is cut off, right? All the roads leading out are flooded for the most part.
They just partially opened Highway 3, which is probably the most circuitous route.
Mhm.
Circuitous route. There's no ETA right now for the main arterial route, which would be Highway 5. And the Trans-Canada Highway 1 is also, I haven't heard any ETAs. So
Yeah, we've down here, Tacoma, Seattle area, not seen a lot of. I mean, yes, it's been raining, but it's urban here, and we. It's urban up some of the flooded areas too, but we've not had the flooding to deal with. But I have been seeing things on the news because I see that a lot for some reason, and I saw a place that reminded me of one of our adventures because we met for some geocoin adventures up in Mount Vernon, and I remember walking the river walk there and looking at all the barricades and beams and gates and things that they had in place, and the organizer up there that works for the city was telling us how they'd engineered those. And by golly, you can go Google the news stories, and as Just Finding Our Way shared, the flood wall did what it was supposed to do. Downtown escaped major flooding. And I saw all those flood walls in place and gates closed, and I thought, I remember exactly where that is.
And
that's
those
cool.
things are so huge.
Yeah,
they're a lot larger than you think when you just see them driving by.
They're a really unique engineering system. Yeah.
Yes.
So delighted to hear that they worked. Maybe it's a lesson for some other communities to look at that kind of investment, but that is a huge capital investment to put those in.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. But I'm glad it paid off.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Glad to hear that.
CRS 98 added the worst places in Washington are all in Whatcom County, or as I like to say, Watt.com County.
Yeah.
Because water doesn't respect the international boundaries.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because the community of Sumas, which is right on the border, was completely flooded out as well. And that's basically right in the same floodplain that the part of Abbotsford is that's been hit the hardest. So yeah, that whole area is hit pretty hard for sure.
We could close the borders to floodwaters, and wildfire smoke would be in good shape. But
yeah, that's what we're going to do.
You know, I gotta say though, talking about international relations, I saw early on in the chat, Three Hams and a Rose commented on something that we just heard about this evening that I thought was really cool, in that people who need to get from the Metro Vancouver area east in British Columbia and beyond by car are being allowed to cross into Washington State without their passport and without a COVID test in order so that they can get onto the highways that are clear in Washington and make their way east and then head back up. And I was really, I was touched. I thought that was excellent that the federal governments are actually doing something logical and human.
it's like the old days when you could cross the border without a passport.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean just anybody can. So I'm not going to encourage you to.
No. You can't just say you're going to Alaska. That doesn't work. Brayling shares the fun fact: the shortest route earlier today was via I-90, and as I saw on the evening news, the interstate over to Snoqualmie Pass right now is closed. It's snowing heavily up there, and it'll expect to open it until midnight at least. So.
Yeah, and that highway, when it snows heavy up there, that gets packed with a lot of snow.
Yeah, I drove over it Tuesday, and it was bare and wet, but things change in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I've driven over I-90 often, and there's only been a couple of times where, we're going to either turn around or, go home or go find a hotel because we're not making through tonight. It's not getting any better, and they've got it limited. So Starcacher says it's interesting that in Ohio, I've not heard anything about this flooding except on this podcast and GeoGearheads.
Well, I can tell you that my family in Germany was messaging us on Facebook right away, asking if we were okay. So, in some places they're hearing about it, but it could also just be the media that you're listening to. So, fair enough. But now Starcacher knows.
Yeah.
There you go. So in the chat, there's a lot of conversation about what highways are open and where, and which ones are closed. So we won't read them all, but
we can't possibly get to all of them. But thanks for sharing.
Well, and I will tell you, if you want to know the best driving information in British Columbia, you go to drivebc.ca, and I'm going to say just go there.
Not cashingnw.com.
Well, that's if you want.
If you want to drive on a Thursday evening, we're going to tell you, the road situations. If you want to do it on a Tuesday morning, we may not have the most accurate information.
There you go.
This is where you come to be driven crazy, but other than that,
okay.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing.
Or if you're on a long drive, you might want to tune in. We'll keep you busy. We'll keep you entertained.
And
we
there's
will.
Hours of back episodes to.
That's right.
Man.
Well, I
You'll be
hesitate to keep you
eastbound and
entertained.
down.
Yeah, load it up. Are we going to do what they say can't be done? Anyway.
Listen to our entire catalog on one road trip.
Oh, please don't.
I dare you. I dare you.
Cringe. And that's a heck of a long road trip, too.
It's a long road trip.
Right.
And those early episodes are...
Yeah. They are not proud of those.
They're classics now.
Yeah.
They are classics.
Yeah. And then Land Monkey came along and rescued us.
And then Land Monkey came along, made it worse. And then the three of us decided we should really try and do a better job.
Yeah. Speaking of doing a better job, we have a topic tonight that we, for good reason, have not got to yet. Let's jump into that.
Indeed.
We're talking about events.
Events.
We like to get together at events.
We do.
Hang out, meet some people, see some familiar faces, meet some new faces. Gents, have you made it to any events this year?
I've hosted an event this year.
Yes, you
well,
have. I
do tell.
was out of town that weekend.
Yeah, well,
what event did you host?
I hosted one, just a get together for the WSGA, the Washington State Geocaching Association, for the Puget Sound chapter. And it was quite well attended. Beautiful day. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a more beautiful day. It was right on the waterfront, out there with sweeping views, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So I've been to just a couple, not a lot of events this year.
Yeah. I took a look at my stats page. I've been to 5. And they didn't start until May because things weren't open until the spring. And the most recent one was all the way back in July. So I had a really busy summer and didn't get to many after that. But that one, speaking of the WSGA, was called a birthday bash for MC3 Cats. The president of the WSGA. So I remember that. That was a fun event. Had some nice time visiting friends.
Very, very
cool.
So
5 events so far this year. And, well, there's at least one more on the horizon I'd like to get to this year.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
I wonder what it could be.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. 5 events for this year. That's actually pretty good.
2020, I made it to 3.
That's really good for 2020.
That was really, really good for 2020. 2019, there were significantly more. They scroll down off the page there, but yeah. One of those, Chris and I drove all the way to Idaho for in 2020. It was a mountain bike event. That was awesome.
I remember you guys.
It was our first community celebration event.
Yeah, because the other 2 events I went to in 2020 were in February before really the world shut down.
Right, of course, that makes sense. So there you go. Yeah.
You've made it to a couple, Mr. Monkey. Yes.
Yeah.
You did a GIF event.
We have. We saw Marcy from Gold Country this past weekend. Boy, we've got some stories to tell about this past weekend. Just as the storm was really hitting and the highways are starting to close, we were on our way home from Kamloops. So, but we did get up to Kamloops, caught up with some friends, enjoyed the GeoChef event that they hosted up there. It was a wonderfully done event. It was in an old classic movie theater. So it had that, 60s movie theater vibe going on, which is pretty slick.
Did your feet stick to the floor?
Yeah, not too bad. It was clean.
Okay.
And everything. It was just, it just had that feel, right? Like
Yeah.
the old
Mhm.
wooden paneling. That's what I'm trying to say. And so on and so forth. But yeah, it was great. It was a really good time. Great GeoChef event. I would have liked to have stuck around longer, but I didn't pay for enough parking. So as soon as the event was over, I had to bolt out and go.
Sounds like it might have been a good thing with the way the weather was.
Well, we actually that was Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And we stayed the night and drove home Sunday. But yeah. But anyways, we've made it out to a handful of events. We've had a few community celebration events. We've even had a couple up here, at least one for sure that I know some lackeys came up and attended, which was kind of neat. It's when I first met RE54321 and a couple of his colleagues who came along with him. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We've had a few events. It's been a lot of fun. Those community celebration events are a great idea. I'm glad that we have those available.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's pretty slick. So events are back. I think
Events
the
are
key
back.
thing, events are back. The key thing that I've noticed is that we kind of just have to be cognizant that not everybody has the same comfort level.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say the rules might be different here or there or other around, but yeah, even if they're back, and they are, like you said, it's good to respect other people's comfort levels because not everybody is at the same level of things. I was at, it wasn't an event, it was a business conference that I was at, and they had colored dots for your name tag. One was that I'm comfortable talking to you at a distance. One is I'm comfortable with a handshake, and one is I'm comfortable with a hug or something like that. It kind of gave you a good, idea of how comfortable they were with being touching or hugging or just, no, I'll keep my distance and talk from. So I thought that was nice.
That's really slick. I like that. That's smart. Yeah, absolutely. And from a geocaching events perspective, probably your easiest bet is an outdoor event, right?
Mhm.
They're kind of ideal. They're going to have the fewest restrictions to have to try and work around, at least in Washington and British Columbia. I can't speak to any other jurisdictions. But yeah, get together in a park, hosting a CETO. There's plenty of options. Even when the weather isn't perfect, as long as there isn't an atmospheric river to deal with.
Yeah.
And how often does that happen?
Yeah, well, more often than we want. But many of the parks in the Northwest, and I'm sure in many areas, have shelters in them. So you can always stand under the shelter. Everybody can have a little bit of space. Yeah, it works out pretty well.
Here in Washington State, make sure you book that shelter and not just expect it to be available to you. A lot of people are going outside. I'm looking to book a shelter for an event, and they're getting hard to find. So just FYI. A lot of people are looking to get together, and outside is a place most people are willing to go.
Right. That makes sense. So the shelters have become much more popular than they used to be. Interesting.
And it's much more rainy and dark than it used to be just a couple of weeks ago. So those shelters are filling up fast.
Yeah.
Talking about events,
Yeah.
Komakino mentioned one that happened just today, the 20 years since they met event in Redmond. And that is Brian Roth.
Yeah.
So Brian of Geocaching HQ fame.
I saw him post about that on Facebook today. I thought that was pretty cool.
20 years since he met his wife.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just you started doing it, I was just going to ask if you wanted to give the backstory on what the 20 years is about.
Yeah, they met at a geocache. Brian and his wife. I looked at it earlier, and it's completely
Mrs. Roth.
escaped me. Mrs. Roth, what the future Mrs. Roth at the time, met at an event 20 years ago on this date.
I think in
And I'm
Heidi.
looking at it going, why are they hosting an event, noon on Thursday? There's no way I can get up there. That's not fair. But, the date is what is important.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And it was a mountain bike event they originally met at.
Yes. Yes. And J-Car attended that, I believe, as well.
There you go. Mountain bike, bringing people together for 20 years.
Yeah. Brylang says it was Heidi, by the way.
Heidi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brylang.
Isn't that an appropriate name for somebody who geocaches now? Just saying.
Somebody who, places geocaches anyways.
Exactly.
All right. Keats shared about hosting events. He said he hosted an event on the Halifax Harbor Boardwalk. It was great to meet some of the people who made his trip to Nova Scotia so fun with their caches that he got to find.
That's a neat idea, because how often have we done caches by somebody and we go, boy, this hider puts out really quality hides. Sure would love to meet them. Well, there's a great way to do that, perhaps.
It is. It's funny. I know people who have differing opinions. Some people feel that hosting an event when you go to travel somewhere kind of feels like you're making yourself be more of a big deal than you are.
A little presumptuous.
And I can see how it can be perceived that way. But I think like everything else, it really just comes down to intent, right? So
Sure.
I think if the intent very clearly, and you can always write the intent in your description.
I was going to say, you can put it in there.
Like I am visiting and I would really love to meet the local cachers. And then, it's not, hey, I'm here, come see me.
Right.
Just wanted you to know God's gift to geocaching is coming to your little podunk town. Come meet me.
Is that how you normally write your event descriptions, Jim?
No. I think I've only hosted one event, one or two. I did a February 29th event. There's let's see, where is it? Right there. There's a log sheet for it. Oops. Right there.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah. IHAM says we often schedule events when we travel just because we want to meet the locals.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. So I think, again, as long as you're clear about it and upfront about exactly like what IHAM said.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, so your typical events like that, just hanging out, meeting people at a park shelter, at a coffee shop, or whatever. But there are some specialized types of events. We've mentioned GIF events. You made it to one. Sadly, there aren't any hosted this year close enough, or on days I have off that I won't be able to make one happen this year. But another type is community celebration events, and they're still happening. They're still occurring. They were one of those things that came out for the 20th anniversary the date has come and gone, but everything else just keeps getting pushed back. So does anyone have one of those to host?
I still have mine to host.
Yeah, I do too.
I still have mine. Were we supposed to do something with them? Because mine says it's disabled and that the date has passed. And were we supposed to do something with it? Like, it's still there.
I just checked on mine, and it was, still valid until December 2022.
Yeah, I thought they'd been pushed into 22. So I don't know.
Okay. Weird. All right. I don't know.
So there's a couple of events coming up here in the area.
Oh, the chat lackey is telling us we have until December 31st, 2022 to host your community celebration event. Thank you.
I do see what you mean. No, mine says past as well. But
sorry?
Yeah. I just looked at mine. I saw what you said. Mine says past as well, but
okay.
They have been extended.
Okay, so even though it says it's past, it's still fine.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of weird that it said that.
Yeah, it's unusual. I hadn't looked at it in a while. So.
All right, but yeah. So it sounds like Chris has one that he needs to use. I've got one that
I've got one. Yeah.
I need to use. You've got one you need to use.
Maybe by the time we host them, things will be open more.
Yeah. I feel like it's special and it should be, set aside for something unique and interesting.
You know
don't
what,
waste
though?
this.
You end up doing you risk ending up doing the
Yes.
old rainy day thing, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
the good news is we've got lots of rainy days now, so you may as well have the event.
Yeah. Yeah. All the wildfires have
Saving
been
it
put
for a
out.
rainy day.
All the wildfires have been put out, and the droughts are ended. But we're not drowning, so
Choose
Yeah,
your-
in an extreme manner.
yeah. Yes.
All right. So
So there's a couple of events coming up this weekend. There's a CETO in North Seattle put on by Frau Potter. And there is a GJIF in Marysville, which I believe Land Monkey is closer to you than it is to me.
it probably is, except that I would have to,
Yes.
at this point, I would have to get a PCR test so that I can come back into my own country, which is ridiculous. Just to
Following weekend, November 28th, is the post-food coma event in Kitsap.
Oh, is that
around
because
Tulsa.
that's
After
U.S.
the-
Thanksgiving?
Exactly.
Okay. Post-food coma. I love it.
And then one Wits End likes is the Krampus Day meet and greet. What do you know about Krampus, Wits End?
Krampus is traditionally, let's just call him the anti-Santa. I'm not a big Krampus fan.
Oh, I thought you were.
No.
Okay.
Because I'm so crotchety and mean, you might associate me
Oh,
with
okay.
Krampus. But yeah.
You make Krampus look jolly.
I think I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Rough
That
crowd.
should be a new Land Monkey intro.
Oh,
Some say.
it could be someday.
Anyway, Krampus Day is December 5th. Well, the event is.
The event is right.
Bill.
Very cool. Well, yeah, we've got a few events going on here in BC that we're planning to get to. As I said, we were fortunate enough to make the road trip up to Kamloops to go to British Columbia's only GJIF event, at least so far. So that was exciting to get up there and do that. It was really exciting to get home. Coming up this weekend, we've got a CETO event in Aldergrove. The British Columbia Geocaching Association's hosting a pizza and planting event with the Metro Van Parks.
So, how much pizza can you get when you plant one?
I
are we talking a full pie?
What I'm not sure about is, do you plant them pointy side down or pointy side up? So I'm hoping to learn all of that this weekend.
Yeah, I would think you would put the crust down. So, that I don't know.
Yeah.
You have to report back.
Does it matter if it's a stuffed crust or not? Does that make a difference?
Fatter
Perhaps.
tree.
There you go. But yeah, so we'll find out all about planting pizza trees this weekend. And what else? Next weekend, so November 27th, Mrs. Monkey and I are hoping to get to an event. We've logged our will attend for it. A Santa hat event. It's a community celebration event on Vancouver Island in the community of Courtney that we're hoping to go and participate in. Another event that's coming up on December 4th in Abbotsford. Hopefully everybody will be able to get to that one. It's the Celebrate the Festive Season, another community celebration event. I haven't logged my will attend for that one yet, but I should do that because I think we're going to try and get to that one. And then the very next day, I'm hosting an event.
Wow.
And this is
Wow.
and it's a wow event, and this is really kind of exciting. There's only 10 of these events in the world, and I was given the opportunity to host Canada's. So this is the only wow trackable giveaway event in Canada. It's going to be in Richmond, in the Richmond Nature Park. It's GC9 Juliet 8 Alpha Quebec. Yeah, we're going to be giving away those World of Warcraft trackables.
Oh, thank you. That was my next
That-
question.
that's what
'cause I
WoW
honestly
stands for,
don't know
World of
what WoW
Warcraft.
is.
There you go.
Okay. I was thinking the ShamWow guy. You're going to give away ShamWows.
That's right.
You keeping up with me, camera guy?
That's right.
But the trackables arrived at my house this afternoon. So I have them in my grubby little monkey paws.
Check
Oh,
Land
so
Monkey's
you can
eBay
actually
account.
have the event now.
So I can actually have the event now. Yeah, very exciting. So looking forward to hosting that event and giving away free trackables to folks who show up. So that'll be fun. And then the last event on my radar is, well, we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, but December 18th in the community of Esquimalt, just outside of Victoria on Vancouver Island. It's a community celebration event hosted by Landsharks. And they have asked the Caching and W crew to be their guests of honor and perform a live podcast. So
It's funny. That's the
Good, I
next
thought they
event on my radar.
I thought they were going to ask us to dance, and I'm not too good.
yeah, we'll probably chair dance. I don't know. It's going to be
Okay.
interesting. I'm not sure
That's
how
a
we're
problem.
gonna. I'm not sure how we'll do all this, but we'll figure it out. Their new
Oh, yeah.
store has lots of space, so it's well set up for this kind of thing. That'll be great. But yeah, it's going to be
Nice. It's 6:30 to 8:30
in the evening. Yeah,
in the evening, 18:30 to 20:30.
there you go.
So come and join us. If you want to, we're going to take the Black Ball Ferry over that morning. You can join us on the ferry. We'll
That is our plan.
go up
yeah.
on deck and, greet you in whatever way you're comfortable with.
Probably not throw you overboard.
Probably not.
Can't promise.
Yeah, I was gonna say the option's always there.
More than likely, I'd go over with you. So
Yeah.
whatever.
By the way, you're being accused of closing the highways so the rest of Canada can't make it to your WOW event.
Oh no,
So
I
you
would
get
want
to
the rest
choose
of Canada to try and make it. It's everybody's welcome. But if you're going to come, try and either carpool or transit or get there early because parking is limited or you're in for a bit of a walk. So there you
Or
go.
a
But
boat.
that's all on the
You
cache
can
page.
take a boat ride, depending on the water levels.
Oh, I was talking about I was talking about my WoW Trackable event. But yes, parking is also limited at the Shark store, so you're going to want to plan ahead for that too, for sure.
Plenty of boat
Nice.
space on the pier, though.
Yes, yeah. If you come
There
by
you go.
boat,
You could boat in there.
you can. Yeah, you guys will have to check that out because literally, like, you walk out the front door of their store, and you're at the marina, and you can just walk down and check out the marina. It's really cool.
Watch that first
I-
step.
Yeah. I've looked at the maps, but
Yeah.
It'll be nicer in person.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I am so looking forward to hanging out in person with you guys again.
And is there a Tim Hortons nearby?
Yes.
There's always a Tim Hortons nearby, but yes, there actually is. It's a very short walk up the hill.
Nice. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Indeed, absolutely. And of course, we want to take a moment to thank Landsharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Remember, they're shipping online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocache adventures, well, plan ahead for spring and go visit exploregoldcountry.com. All right, and we want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this podcast, click the Patreon link on the cachingNW.com a website.
Like our good friend Sprouter did.
And Broncos fan for life.
Apparently, Skyhawker did.
How about Antaeus?
The Geo Travelers.
Kid Vegas, 19.
CRS 98.
On a boat.
Keats, 94.
Limax.
Tick Magnet.
Just finding our way.
Ackerdock.
Udak.
Hey, how about the well, previous birthday boy. I guess they're all previous birthday celebrants
People.
in one way or another. MC3 Cats.
About Wino, Seattle.
How about Al Robrick?
T. Sayer.
Fairwood West.
Donners.
Trexer. 0.
M. Nerf.
You Talks. 2 Rocks.
Genies.
B. Pendragon.
And active in the chat tonight, Wet Coaster.
Korsgott.
Subway Mark.
Peach of Washington.
Seebeck Tribe.
Boomer 365.
GSM ×2.
Geo Nav Pros.
LG 9000.
The entire Camp Clan.
Indeed.
Kennel Barb.
Logwork.
As Chris likes to say, terrible lunch, great geocacher, gas station tuna.
3 Hams. And a Rose.
Kev MacD.
All right, Yogi.
Hey.
Dora Moore.
Team Noltex.
Ari 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sega Hove.
And Greenwords.
And all of us are out there and abouts here now. You can find us. You found us
That's
here. You'll
right.
find us somewhere else.
That list is getting long, eh?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Hey,
It's-
we went a little long tonight. So, folks, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that the dialogue has changed because your support helps keep quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about because we'll do it. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe and give us a review. You can call 253-693-TFTC. Ask us a comment. Leave us a comment. Ask us a question or give us a ride to your nearby GIF event any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. You can join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and even livelier chat. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
That's it, but that's the after show.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't know if there's much after show content tonight.
I have a comment to ask you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm going to leave
Ask
you a
me
question.
comment. Leave me a question. You know, what's funny is we've had this change in the text for a while.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, the old one is still in the brain there somewhere.
Of course it is.
I have to,
Hardwired.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. so I have to stop and think.
We're
And
over
that hurts.
400 shows in. It's kind of hardwired. It's ingrained now. Anyways, I wanted to maybe just quickly share with the in the after show about my adventures this weekend because we were talking about that earlier, and I said, "Oh, I'll talk about it in the after show." But
It's the after show.
but it's the after show now, so I can quickly just share with this. So as I said, we were up in Kamloops for the GIF this weekend, and the big storm rolled in as we were on Sunday, as we were on our way home. And so we were coming from Kamloops, we were approaching Merritt, and I saw that they've got the digital highway signs, as I'm sure they do in most jurisdictions. And it said Highway 5 closed. I was like, that's kind of weird. But, you know, we knew that there was potential storms and we were expecting snowstorms overnight. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe the snowstorms came early and they just haven't had a chance to clear the highway. Fair enough. We'll reroute to Highway 1. So we got into Merritt and we're, of course, waiting in the lineup at the Timmy's because that's what one does. And we had a geocache just outside of Merritt that we wanted to grab as well. So we're like, all right, this all works out. And so while we're waiting in line, we check the Drive BC app on the phone and we notice, Highway Highway 1 is closed too from a rock slide, and Highway 5 is closed from a mudslide. This isn't good. And at that same time, I started getting messages actually from Brylang doing that. Hey, guys, I don't know where you are, but the highways are closing. So we're like, all right, thanks. So we had just seen that information. So we're like, all right,
Your
well,
live highway assistant was
indeed.
calling.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, wait a minute,
sure
wait a minute.
He charges for that service if you're interested
Yeah.
in subscribing.
So is he a navigation lackey as well?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. He does everything. This guy.
Yeah, so we rerouted to Princeton, which is the southern route through British
Yeah,
Columbia.
that's through New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very south
Yeah.
and a lot east.
And a lot east. Yeah. So, and the crazy thing is, and that takes you through one of our provincial parks, a very big one, Manning Park. And as we're coming through there was a couple of car accidents. And we just missed a huge tree came down across the highway. And then subsequent to that, we get out, we finally get out of that area and get into the town of Hope. Well, the power is out in the town of Hope.
Mm,
And that's normally, like, you guys have been to Hope.
yeah.
That's still pretty far north.
It's, yeah, you're fairly, well, east, pretty far east.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, not so much north, but yeah, it was, there was no power. And that is where most people will fill up with gas and food on their way home to the
Yeah.
lower mainland. So you're not doing that there. And that is when we were there, is we were getting service again now finally, because through the whole Manning Park area, there's no cellular service. So you're not getting any news. So when we're in Hope, we're checking the Drive BC and everything again, and we're also getting updates from Brian, and that the number 1 highway had another landslide south of Hope, so it was like, that's closed too. So we rerouted onto Highway 7, which then shortly after we got through had multiple mudslides. Like, it's crazy. Like, we just squeaked ahead of everything. Oh, and I see here, Alan says they're on the road on Sunday. Exact same scenario. Stopped at Kikuli for lunch and noticed Highway 1 was closed. Took 8.5 hours from Kamloops to New West. Yeah, you were lucky you weren't 1 to 2 hours later. So yes, very similar situation. Both of us apparently had horseshoes firmly up our butt on Sunday. So yeah, so that's my story. There you go. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Don't consider that situation lucky.
It was lucky to get home.
Yeah, no, the situation you described after that, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't consider that lucky.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
Bryling says some of the people behind Land Monkey were trapped in Hope until Wednesday.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad scenario.
Amazing.
Once the Highway 7 closed, that was it. That was the only other route from the lower mainland to the Fraser Canyon. Like that's it. It's pretty crazy.
Folks, thank you for joining us tonight. We really like you. Thank you for being a part of Caching in the Northwest. And until next week, get out, stay dry and safe while caching in the Northwest.